Al, are you still there?
No, that was a late Brian.
Oh, okay. I thought I heard another. Okay. All right. So the other, just by way of talking about what I thought we would do, is, hold on a second. No, I'm having a problem here. Is I thought we could discuss some of this budget process suggestions that the finance committee had given us, and so I've got kind of a list of my own thoughts that I thought, you know, I'm sure. Well, I'm just trying to figure out why.
That's what you're talking about, aren't you? No.
Yeah, they gave us a few documents, so
yeah, I've got one.
when Al gets here, we can go
That's the first one, huh?
right through those.
Okay.
You know, I took some time to kind of gather my thoughts about some of the things that they were suggesting, as well as kind of looking back at what we already had. And
Yeah.
I think that we can marry the two together without too much difficulty, but you know, before hearing anybody else's thoughts. So we'll have to see what happens with that. Hold on one second.
They have them in handcuffs?
Looks like Al Bale's here, so. You guys still seeing my screen?
Yeah, well, we see now just,
Oh.
we don't see
The screen's go.
Okay, what do you see now?
the people,
All right, good.
no screen.
Yep. So it looks like Al Bale's coming in.
Wearing his mask.
I guess I probably should put one on too, right?
Yeah.
Hold on one second.
You know, I tell you to
Otherwise-
do a mask, don't I?
Right, otherwise he would be annoyed at whatever decisions were made.
There you go.
All right, 6 feet away.
I gave him a seat that's, by my estimations, 8 to 10 feet away. Okay.
Did you hear me?
All right, so I shared my screen with these folks, which obviously you can't see. But just to bring Al up to speed, I'm gonna hide this for a second.
Just so you know, it's not there, Al.
Yeah, I put
Just
it
so
down
you
for
know.
now, just so I can see you guys. We'll see if you're
All
making faces. So we voted on the minutes, we let that go. And then on the agenda, the biggest thing that we need to do is get through the whole budget process and what we're gonna do with that. At the last meeting, we talked about at the last meeting, we decided to stay on track the way that we are with keeping the wording that we already had, not changing it away from the select board, and trying to figure out how we could incorporate some of the finance committee suggestions. So that's kind of where we left off. So I think we know what our direction is in terms of keeping it, keeping the authority with the select board, but trying to figure out a way to incorporate some of the suggestions from the finance committee, which were very good. Now that we know that we can't just transfer things, we can't legally transfer the authority to the town administrator. So one of the documents that they shared with us is the one where they went through the beginning, or not the beginning, where they went through the document itself, and they made some suggestions in red. And right now, Al, I'm just scrolling to where they started with that. Do you have that document here? Okay, great. So,
The one where John had the comments?
no, not the actual document itself where they highlighted in red some things. I don't think I'm there.
Pages 9, pages 9,
So-
pages 11, page
Right,
17.
so you guys see here on the budget process, chapter 4, budget process.
Are you putting anything on, up or no?
You don't see it?
No,
Okay. All right. Let's change that.
Okay, your screen's on.
yep,
You
There
see
you
it
go.
now?
thank you.
All right. So in the budget process, they had, again, keep in mind that when they did this, they were suggesting that we go to the town administrator, which we believe we can't do.
Mhm.
Without some, like Al had suggested, without some ridiculous change of government, which the board didn't, or the committee didn't seem inclined to do. So they added this language, basically it says the town administrator shall furnish budget request forms to each elected official for the boards, committees, or departments under their jurisdiction to any board or committee not under the jurisdiction of an elected official. Upon receipt of completed appropriation requests, the accountant shall enter, you guys can see it. You've read it, I don't need to go back through it. One of the things that, if you look down where they X'd out that paragraph where it says the town administrator shall keep a balanced budget proposal, all that, I don't necessarily think that needs to go away. And if you give that a quick read, and it's probably hard for Al because he's sitting here, so I'm actually going to read it. The town administrator shall then develop a balanced budget proposal. Upon receipt of appropriation requests from town departments, the accountant shall enter a request in the budget software. The town administrator shall then meet with the department heads in order to discuss their needs. After updating the revenue estimates and making any changes to the department request, the town administrator will prepare a balanced budget proposal for the select board approval, which will then be forwarded to the finance committee. So that's what they had out of there.
Mhm.
And so, I think I'll just start the discussion there. Again, they were trying to take the select board out of that. We've decided that we can't. So I think we can leave that there. And my thoughts about how can we address their concerns for the political piece of the budget with the select board. And the reality of it is, regardless of who has the authority for this budget, you can't take your political views out of a budget. I don't care who you are, what you're doing. To some extent, that's going to be there. So I think the only thing we can do is try to give a voice to all the select board, the town administrator, and the finance committee. So if in my view, if the town administrator is developing this balanced budget, he presents it to the select board. If they approve of it, the finance committee is going to look at it, and they're going to either say it's in line with their goals and long-term strategies, or it's not. You back up one more step and say, okay, if the town administrator provides it to the select board and they don't approve of it and they want to make changes, I think one way to deal with the difference there, and to take out any sort of, if you wanted to say it that way, political pressure, would be for the for the finance committee to review both of them.
Mhm.
Knowing that the select board is going to be the one that goes before the town meeting. And I think we've already done this to some extent by giving the finance committee the ability, or not the ability, but the responsibility to either agree or disagree with the budget items in the town meeting budget booklet. And I'm suggesting that the same sort of situation could happen here if by chance the town administrator's version doesn't, coincide with what the select board wants. It's really the same thing, just a couple steps earlier.
You have like checks and balances now. In effect, it's checks and balances to take away that political question. Do we have in here anywhere, or can we put in here anywhere, the scenario if the select board doesn't agree with the balanced budget that the town administrator presents to it for approval, it will present its own to the finance board. Is that a step that should be written down somewhere?
It certainly can be, and I think the step that needs to happen, and like you're saying, we certainly should have something written there. But I think when it comes back to it, the reality of it is there's got to be one entity that's going to present the budget. What budget gets presented? And if it's going to be the select board budget, that's great. But there should be the opportunity for the finance committee to say, we disagree with this because of that, or the town administrator provided this, and that, and for whatever reasons, it's better for the town. I think we can do both. I think we can mimic it in the budget development process, right in this wording right here, just like we did with the budget booklet, where we said, if the finance committee doesn't agree with one of the articles or a budget or a source or things like that, they have the opportunity in that booklet before it's printed to disagree, and why. I think we can do the same thing here, knowing full well that when it comes down to it, the select board budget's going to go forward. However, if they disagree with it, they're still going to have the opportunity to do so in a very public fashion that's going to get the information out to the people who actually control the budget town meeting.
Makes sense, Al.
Since
What say you, Al Bale?
Good.
He said it sounds good. All right, I'm going to keep moving through this. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to take notes too. All right, I'm just going to continue to scroll down this document. If anybody wants to add anything, let me know.
wait a second, wait. You know
Yep.
the thing that scratched out, the town administrator will be the budget officer for the
Yep.
town? That was scratched out. Is that still scratched
They-
out?
Here's what I will say about that. I believe the reason they scratched that out because they added it in another area, and we'll get to that. It's a good catch.
Good. Page 9. Yeah,
That was
back up.
added,
Yeah, page 9.
okay.
There it is. Yeah, right there. So they
Okay.
took one place, added it to the other. Makes sense to me. I don't have a problem with it.
Uh-huh.
Along those same lines, though, I'm glad you mentioned that, Virginia. There's something else. Oh, here it is. Do you see right here where they took out select board? So that right, the finance committee now has the responsibility to advise and make recommendations on the budget as submitted by the town administrator and the select board. They took out the word "and the select board." I think we should leave it in there.
Yeah,
And I understand why they
Think
took
so.
it out, because they were going in the direction of giving the town administrator the authority, which, we're trying to marry the two together now, so.
I
All right,
agree.
I'm scrolling down, looking to find out where their next suggested change was in this piece of the document.
17.
17, thank you.
here we go.
Right here, okay. Let me see here. This was another area where I felt like we could leave their wording and leave ours in there as well. They basically just scratched out that first sentence or two sentence that said, it shall be the duty of the finance committee from time to time during the fiscal year made to inquire into expenditures and commitments of each town department and to report to the select board which, if any, department expenditures and commitments are likely to exceed its appropriations. And then they added the whole part about, preparing and administrating it from time to time, the financial model. You see the part there that's in red. They should prepare an annual report to be distributed as part of the budget officer finance report, which again, that's in line with what we've already done already.
Yep.
Again, down here where they've scratched out the select board approval, I think we need to reword, add that back in. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
You know, in the very first line that's crossed out, what does it
Yeah.
mean when it says during, no, all the way at the beginning, during the final year dash May?
Where do you see that? Oh, it shall be the duty of the finance committee from time to time during the fiscal year. I think it just should say to inquire into the,
Yeah.
that's a typo.
Yeah, we don't want May in there.
No, we'll get that out of there.
Okay.
The whole thing has been Xed. Are we keeping that line now, or are we going along with, finance committee?
I leave it up to you, up to the committee.
You-
I mean, do you see it as any, do you see it as any sort of conflict between the two wording? I don't. Anybody?
I don't see.
Okay. I mean, I would say leave it. It
God
incorporates,
bless, but
this is some, down here it says, any issue still not agreed on by the finance committee will be included in print as an aside to the, I would leave the select board's approved warrant or to present orally at the town meeting. They added the orally at town meeting. Does anybody have any issues with that?
no.
Get the mask shake. So I think side to side. So I think that's no.
No, I have no problem.
No, I have no
We're good?
problem.
Okay. And I'm gonna go through the rest of this quickly because I don't think they had any other changes in this one. I could be wrong about that.
I didn't see any. I
Did you
didn't see
already
any.
get through it? Okay. All right. So
Yeah,
So get out of that document. And I'm gonna go into the document where they talked about the budget authority considerations as a financial instrument.
Yeah.
And I wanted to go to this one just because I wanted for the group to talk about a couple of things that they talked about. You know, one of the things that they said is that, and let me get to my notes here. You know, they talked about it as a political instrument, you know, and they talked about how, especially when you talk about the finance committee piece of it, they say non-political, for the most part, financial professionals, they make financial recommendations, not political recommendations. One of the things that they said is they're the voice of the taxpayers.
yeah.
And while that may very well be for the board that's sitting at any given time, I think really the voice of the taxpayers is town meeting. I think the voice of the taxpayers are the people who voted into office. I think you could make that same argument. And I certainly get their point of political platform versus, you know, financial soundness. It also suggests that they are, you know, they're opposed to each other, which I don't necessarily think that they are. And I think the best evidence of that is that, you know, right now, we have a system that seems to work pretty well, although on paper, maybe it's a bit problematic. So, you know, I think a lot of what they've suggested in ways to take away that political piece of this, I think we've done it, you know?
You can't take away people's thinking. Look at the Supreme Court.
Right,
Come on.
right. I don't know if you've heard that, but Al just said that, you know, you can't take how people think.
Well,
I agree.
I run for the board of selectmen because I hate the police department. You know, so what?
Right, no, and that's, and
That's the townspeople to decide.
it is absolute, and I agree with Al. Basically, he's saying, if I run for office for whatever reason and get elected, it's up to the town people to decide if they put me in office. And if they put me in office, I think there's some idea that they share some of the political opinions that I do, and I think that's a piece of this. So,
Every citizen in town has a responsibility, Kevin.
Yeah.
They don't do it, that's their problem.
yeah, no, I agree. So I wanted to bring this document up because I believe that this document actually makes a lot of sense. I think that they're right to be thinking about a lot of the things that they are talking about. But I also think that seeing as how we don't have any intention in changing our frame of government, or form of government rather, excuse me, then we should try to incorporate some of the things that they've suggested or brought up into what we've already done. And I think we've done that. I was kind of dreading this meeting because when I was getting ready for it, I'm like, oh my God, here we go again. How are we going to get all this in there? But I really started to look at this. I think we've done a lot of it already, with the way that we've discussed and the way that we've, changed things around. I think if we do what we just said we're going to do about adding the ability for that disagreement discussion during the process to get publicized, I think that takes care of a lot of this. I really do. Thoughts?
I'm with you.
Makes sense. Yep.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna just buzz through these other documents that I have here. Give me 1 second. So they also provided this document, which was
Yeah.
town meetings, elections, and recalls.
Mhm.
And there's a lot here, and we discussed this stuff a while back, I believe. A lot of it is wording changes, and some of it is some of it makes sense. They talked about using the word officials, or officers versus officials. There's a lot of like, this is a little bit unclear, maybe you should specify this. Does the group want to go through every single one of these?
In my mind, if someone took the time to do this, I think you owe them the courtesy of going through all of them so that we can say we discussed it, we agreed, or we didn't agree.
Right.
Because they did go through, they do have a lot here.
Yeah, let me give me 1 second. All right. So we can do that actually. So the first one, and you guys can still see the screen? Do you have this out?
Well, I have my copy of it, so I don't really need the
All
screen.
right,
Do you?
You have my copy.
Do you
Okay, my
see the
copy.
screen though?
Yes,
Yeah.
we do.
We
All
do.
right, give me 30 seconds. I'm gonna make a copy of this for Al,
Okay.
so we all have it, okay?
Sure.
All right, I'll be right back.
Put your lights on there too, Al.
What's that?
You're in the darkness. You're dark. Your face
Can you
is
still
dark.
see me?
I can see you, but not that well. If you put lights on above you, give me more lights. Maybe it's the
I
windows
don't.
behind.
You're not seeing the screen.
Windows. It's the same thing with me, yeah. Yeah, we can see the
I'm
screen.
talking about you first.
Fine.
Hold on. Hold on.
He means your handsome face, Al.
Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, I'll be right back.
Eat
I can
another
do different
lemon.
things.
Eat another
Hey, you
lemon
want-
cookie.
You want a cookie? You never lemon. Oh, I showed you the. These. Addiction.
Ah.
You know, Virginia, I
Yeah.
don't know if I agree with Cookie. I don't know if I agree with B. Newly elected officials at the annual town election will not commence until after the annual town meeting.
Oh, we have discussed that.
Hey, I remember my first annual town meeting. It was a week after the election. And Rogolski gave me every one of the harder articles to do purposely.
Well,
Yeah.
that's why it is. That's
Ready to
why
go?
you.
Hmm?
That's
What's that?
why you wouldn't have gone. That's why in this one, that wouldn't have happened to you.
I know, but I just did some homework and I was ready for it.
Well, yeah, you.
You guys ready to go?
Yeah.
All right.
What page are we
Page 1.
at? Yeah, I can prove this. All right.
Okay, so the commencement of terms of office. These are the questions that they have. I don't need to read them to you.
I think one paragraph is okay. That's just me though.
I do too.
There's a lot of question here on between officials and officers.
Yeah.
Throughout, they always have questions about that.
Right, and I feel like one decision with that, I mean,
Why don't we just always use the same word? Why sometimes are we using officers and sometimes are we using officials?
It's because that's the way the document was when we got it, quite frankly. You know what I mean? And who knows what they meant at the time? I think we all have taken it, you know.
Why don't we just see if officials will make sense throughout? Because I'm just looking at the second sentence, all other officials, elected or appointed, you know, so that includes everybody. See if it makes sense always to use officials.
I'm reading through that now, trying to do that, you know.
And that would take care of 2 and 3.
So we'll always use officials?
Yeah, see if that makes sense. We take
All
care of 4. But now I don't know what 5 meant.
Yeah.
So I think it takes care of 1 through 5, but 6 is another, then 6 is another issue.
So I think
With-
about what?
One word.
One word. So Al's just agreeing with the one word. So the last question there, number 6 is,
It does make sense what they said.
so,
Does
go ahead. So go with appointment, not qualified?
No.
That makes sense?
Yeah,
Yes.
Al, makes sense to you?
Yeah, it's sworn in. You technically are official when you're sworn in.
Right, I think the thought process then we were trying to do was,
In office until the assessor has been qualified or appointment, until they're sworn in. Technically.
yeah, but they're saying out that sometimes people that are appointed unqualified. So that's why they said just keep appointed.
All other officials elected or appointed holding office at the time the act shall continue in office until their successor has been qualified or appointed. That means sworn in.
Al's suggesting sworn in.
Instead of qualified, put sworn in.
That's been sworn in, period. Because you're not official until you're sworn in.
And so they wouldn't be sworn in like until after the town meeting had dissolved, like we said later in the bylaws.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, sworn in is better.
One in.
Is an elected official, they're sworn in, right?
Yes, they are.
Okay, yeah,
Yes.
okay. So we'll get rid of qualified.
You get sworn in.
No qualified, no appointed, we'll say sworn in,
Appointed.
right? Sworn in. That work for everybody?
We're just saying until their successor has been sworn in.
Yes.
Okay,
That avoids qualified or appointed, or they don't care how to get there. Because they gotta get them to be sworn in.
okay, yep.
Right, and then later in the bylaws, we also say somewhere that those elected officials don't take, or actually it says it right there, the first sentence, I'm sorry, that they don't
Yeah.
take office until the meeting dissolved, so it covers both. I think we're good. Good?
Yep.
All right, let's keep moving. Section 4, town meeting and special town meeting. I'm gonna skip right down to where their questions are. It says notifications of what? The warrants, the availability of the warrants. That's question 1. I think it's the warrants, right? The warrants get posted, do they not?
Yes.
All right, so I think that answers that, right?
Well, you're gonna put it in then, I think, notification.
Yes, I'm just making notes of my side. And then,
Yeah.
is posted the correct term for the all-call notification? I don't think that it is. I think we could change that to, I don't know. I don't know that advertise is the right word. Publicized?
All call
Notification.
Just leave in addition to public posting. Blank that whole first part. Copies of the warrant and the annals will be available in town hall. Publicized in a local available newspaper and posted in the town's official website.
Website.
Just
Yeah,
that
what you,
in
what,
addition to public postings, I don't think we need it.
I think, Al, what you said made sense, though. Notifications will also be given by way of all call at least 7 days prior.
Okay. Al had suggested that, I heard what you said, Virginia, but Al had also suggested that the part where it says, in addition to the public postings, copies of the warrant annual town report will also be available at town hall. Publicized available newspaper. You're saying get rid of all of that, Al?
I'm saying, no, just the beginning, in addition to the public posting. Start it with copies, period. Capitalize, copies of the warrant and the annual town report will also be available.
All right, so Al's suggesting just getting rid of that phrase or clause, in addition to the public postings, and starting it with copies of the warrant. Anybody have a problem with that?
Not to be a smart guy here, but with all honesty, for those of us who work, you can't get in to get anything, to see anything, because
Right,
they work short hours, 9 to 3.
right.
I work 7 to 5.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
no, all he's saying is get rid of the beginning of in addition to the public postings
But they're on the
and
town
keep
website.
copies
Right.
of the warrant.
Right. So everything else would stay. We'd get rid of the clause that Al just said to get rid of, and then I'll figure out a way to word that. You know,
Notifications will also be
Notifications
posted
piece.
that way of all call.
that work?
Yeah, I see what Al's doing, yes.
Okay. All right.
I think just say notifications will also be given by way of all call.
Exactly. I think it'll be simple. It's just a wordsmithing.
Yeah,
Okay, quorums. I think that's an easy one. They're suggesting,
it is fine. It's fewer.
yes, so we'll do that.
Yep,
That works for me.
everything that was true.
So really, that's the whole thing, right? They just wanted to do say fewer, which is fine. Method of voting on page 2.
Yep,
They're just saying that it doesn't seem to be stated correctly. It seems to say that 2/3 are needed to either approve or defeat the question, but it is only true for the approval. Maybe it should read that a 2/3 or more of those voting approved the action, or that more than 1/3 of those voting defeated the action.
I have strong feelings about that one.
What do you say, Al?
I say eliminate that bottom thing. Anytime after a motion is presented, majority of town meeting may order a vote by secret ballot. No way. No way.
Did you guys hear that?
no, I don't know what he's
So, Al-
talking about.
Al said that he felt strongly that the last sentence, starting at any time after a motion is presented, a majority of the town meeting may order a vote by secret ballot.
I
He's-
think you better talk to Lynn about that one, because I think she's gonna be in disagreement with Al Bale, because that's been a big issue on that moderators, whatever they call it, public forum, right now. That's all. That with today's society, if secret ballot is called for, you're allowed a secret ballot. It's the wish of the town body meeting, but I don't want to speak for Lynn. That's all, but I believe that's the view of the present town moderator, public forum, whatever that forum thing is that they've been very involved with.
To me,
They're in favor of it or against it. I can't understand what she's saying.
I think what she's saying is that, to her recollection, we had this conversation with the town moderator who felt strongly that that should be in there. It had something to do with the town meeting times, something like that. Is that what?
I care about town meeting time. I care about protecting the power of the town moderator
Yeah.
to control the meeting. If I have the majority of the people and I want to screw up the meeting, I move for a secret ballot, ties up the whole damn meeting because the secret ballot is time consuming. People don't like them. I don't think that, moderator can say, if in her judgment, it's possible with the town meeting like a majority, she has the authority to ask, which I've done in the past, as I put in my note. But I wouldn't take that power away from the moderator. I mean, what the hell? You're gonna have a moderator who just calls on people, that's all the moderator has for power? Come on. No, I would fight this one on town meeting floor. I feel that strong about it.
This wasn't one of the questions that I'd actually, it wasn't one of the questions that the finance committee brought up, but we're having the discussion now, so we might as well figure it out.
Yeah.
What are your feelings, Virginia?
I told you what I
Okay, I
thought.
didn't know if-
I don't think it should come from me. I think you should review it with Lynn and see what Lynn, I hate third-party conversations, and see what Lynn has to say about having, if the majority of town meeting request a secret ballot, does she feel it should be allowed? Again, anyone can request it, but it needs a majority before it goes through. But I don't know, talk to Lynn.
She's
Not
giving
me.
away her power. How much more does she want to give away?
Well, what do you, to me, I'm pretty sure, I thought we had this conversation with her already.
You did.
And I thought that
What was before I was on the board?
it's possible, I don't remember, there's been a lot of different board members, and I've been doing this since, it feels like since I was about 15 years old. So that's entirely possible, but,
You have hair back then?
no, I came out this way. So, Brian, what are your thoughts on it?
I understand exactly where Al's coming from. However, I think we need to listen to the current moderator who is attending all these meetings and at least get her viewpoint on it again.
Okay, all right,
But
well, what,
I agree with Al when it comes to removing powers. And I've always been a firm believer that when that meeting starts, that town moderator is a very powerful person. And by doing this, you at least take some of those powers away from her. It sounds like Lynn, it sounds like Lynn would be kind of happy if it was taken away from her. And as Virginia says, because of what's all around us, what's happening today with public scrutiny, so.
yeah, yeah.
And it isn't-
Al's right. A long-
I guess my question would be this. I mean, the powers of the moderator are set by state law. I mean, I would assume they are. I don't know that to be true. I don't know that a bylaw
Yeah.
can take those powers away if they're set by state. I would look to a former selectman and a former moderator to ask that question, but I don't know the answer to it. I guess my feeling on it is that if the majority of anybody in town wants anything,
They should get it.
I agree. I'm trying to think of the implications of that actually at a town meeting, like Alice suggested. Why don't we do this? I'll reach out to Lynn and just reiterate with her the discussion, Al's concerns about, giving up the powers of the moderator. And I'll also try to figure out if we can even do that, because if there's a regulation or a state law that prescribes what the powers of the moderator are, then this discussion is really null, because we can write whatever we want. If it's not legal, it's not going to matter. So
You can take away her power by appointing. You can do this. This will be legal, I'm pretty sure. You'll take away her power. She can give it all away.
yeah, all right. So I'll talk to Lynn and then look into the powers. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, but let's answer their question now.
Yeah, exactly. So let's get back to that. Maybe it should be read that a 2/3 or more of those voting approve the action.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna read through this, so just bear with me for a second. Yeah, I can see what they're saying.
Yeah, I can too. You could just stop it at approved the action. If 2/3 don't, well, then obviously it goes on to defeat.
So stop it right after they say where it's highlighted, a 2/3 or more of those voting approve the action. Is that what you're saying?
Mhm.
So,
7 or more voters immediately question is declared. That, I don't have any quarrel with that at all.
so if 7 voters immediately question a vote, so declare, the moderator shall verify So that's got to stay. So Virginia, I'm confused as to what you were pointing to.
They said this, they're saying, look, maybe it should read a 2/3 question number 2. Okay, question 1, this doesn't seem to be correctly stated. It seems to say that 2/3 are needed to either approve or defeat the question, but it's only true for approval. So I'm just saying,
Oh, I got you now. I did, you know what? Now that you just read it out loud, I understand. So. On matters going to
they gave you 2 ways of saying
So
it.
what, so it's worded wrong. So basically what it sounds like is you have to have 2/3 to approve it or 2/3 to defeat it.
Yeah, that's
It's
what
worded incorrectly. It should really only say 2/3 to approve it.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, so get rid of or defeated the action.
Mhm.
I don't know. If it, this implies it's a close vote. Why wouldn't you be able to have it if it gets defeated by a handful of votes, so, or approved? So she said it was defeated. And, you know, I look around the hall and I don't think it has, the gut was defeated. So I don't understand why there's a problem either way. Why is it only approved votes that can be challenged and not defeated votes?
I'm gonna read it one more time. Al's basically saying, well, why is it that approved votes, not defeated votes, can be reviewed? I'm gonna read it one more time.
That isn't what it says, though.
Because it's a declared vote, it's not a common vote.
I agree with Al. I think if we get rid of the defeated or defeated the action, then it says the only way that you can actually call that back into is if it's approved.
Because it's a declared vote, it's not a common vote.
If I question the fact that it was approved, I'm on the other side. If I question the fact, I'm one of those 7 people to put up my hand and say, this was not a 2/3 vote. Please.
Right, but what if you're on the other side? What if it gets defeated and you're someone who voted for it? If we get rid of that or defeated the action, then you don't have a voice to do anything about it.
No, because the town moderator has declared it. I was on the voice that now I'll do it the other way. I really approved it. The town moderator did an eyeball and she said the motion was defeated. I put my hand up and I questioned her vote that she declared. She declared it was defeated. I'm questioning it and saying, I want a hand vote of it, or whatever you want. I want a tally. It does work either way. I'm questioning the vote that she declared by her visual.
Right, and I agree with that, but I think while it's not worded perfectly as is, the intent of that wording was to say, it doesn't matter whether it was approved or defeated. If somebody questions the fact that it was a close vote, they should be able to do so regardless of the side of the argument they're on.
But that's what it says in the second thought. But doesn't matter.
Hey, Cheryl? Can you come here for a minute?
So Virginia, are you suggesting, I'm confused as to what you're suggesting now.
I agree with what the finance board said. It said, either change it the way it's worded now, it's confusing. Maybe it should read, a 2/3 or more of those voting approved the action, or that more than 1/3 of those voting defeated the action.
I see what you're saying. I can agree with that. I think that makes sense. So that would, if we
Yeah.
use that wording, it would take care of the problem. I agree with
Yeah.
that. Okay. Brian?
He left.
Okay. Al?
I'm lost.
Okay, Al's lost. I think that makes sense, Virginia. It clarifies the issue no matter what, so I think it's good.
I'll read it when you finish it.
Okay, yeah, exactly. So going on to the next one, permission to speak. The only thing that they're suggesting is the wording's awkward. I agree. They said shall sit in a specified portion of the meeting.
I would say place at the meeting.
That's what they said as well. I agree with that. Virginia?
Yep.
Okay. Going down to select board. The select board may appear either personally or by council. their question was, does this mean town council or personal council? How is the town committed to this course of action? If the town is committed to the course of action, how is it communicated? I feel like it's minuscule. I feel like it doesn't matter. It's council, whether it's the town council or special labor council or anybody. I think it says what it's supposed to say.
You know what? I think I capitalized council though. Because that's a pretty
Okay.
important position there, you know what I mean?
Okay.
That's all.
All right, the authority to appoint town council. The section says the select board acting as town agents shall have the authority to appoint and employ a town council to act on behalf of the town and its various officers, committees, and boards.
I would change it.
Okay,
I would change where it says act on behalf of the town, or any special council, period.
uh,
They say it's in conflict.
Select board acting as town agent shall have the authority to appoint and employ a town council or any special council, period.
so Al's saying to add, so where it says appoint and employ a town council, to add also or special town council.
Eliminate the rest.
And then he's saying, hold on one second. To eliminate the rest of it, to act on behalf of the town and its various officers, committees, or boards.
Wait, I wasn't looking at that because I was instead looking at what their questions are to see how is this in conflict with chapter
What is
3.
what is the conflict, you know?
Yeah, I do. Because it
What is
says,
it?
I looked it up, the town administrator shall appoint. Chapter 3 is the town administrator. Section 3 is appointment authority. And it says the town administrator shall appoint the town accountant, highway superintendent, police chief, constable, fire chief, building inspector, tree warden, town council, and special councils.
Gotcha, okay. Well,
Well, we haven't gotten that other one yet.
but they're in conflict, so,
Yeah,
They are in conflict.
think about this one. That whole appointment thing, I needed to look at.
what if, Virginia, can you read me that part again that you just said, the conflict part?
It's under town administrator. It says the town administrator shall appoint the town accountant, highway superintendent, police chief, constables, fire chief, building inspector, tree warden, town council, and special councils, conservation commission, council on aging, historical commission, and any other commissions, committees, boards, or offices under the town administrator's direction and supervision in whole or in part.
Seems to me I saw that place.
Yeah, I definitely see the conflict. I'm sure you guys do too.
Yeah, I looked at it. My suggestion was cross out town council and special council, that's all.
For the
For the
town administrator. So Al suggested that we cross out town council and special town council underneath the authority of the administrator. Thoughts? That makes sense to me. Because the reality of it is the select board can always give him the authority to do that.
Okay,
That brings it up, that makes it even with the other, keeps the select board with that
Does
authority.
that make sense to you guys?
Yep.
I'm just writing that
What did
down.
Al just say?
So Al
Yes.
suggested that for the town administrator, in that clause that's contradictory, we take out special town council and town council from the town administrator's authority. The reality of it is, it's not gonna matter because if the select board wanted to give him that authority, they can delegate it to him anyway.
mhm.
That makes sense to me. We good with that?
Yep,
Why not? But
Okay.
then they should choose the town council and choose any other special council, not the board of selectmen. That should be his appointment.
Brian, I'm just gonna reiterate what you just said, because Al asked. Brian said that he doesn't think that should be the select board and that it should be the town administrator. Keep going on it, Brian.
Well, I feel that the town administrator should have the authority to appoint any town council or any special council. I think what the appearances are, the select board may appear either personally or by council before any committee of the general court, any court, or the board of commissioners to protect the interests of the town, but are not authorized by law to commit the town to any course of action. Right?
We've actually stepped down though, where the actual conflict is there, Brian. It's
Yeah.
in chapter 2, number 5, authority to appoint town council. Because there it's saying the select board has that authority, and then under chapter 3, whatever it was for town administrator, it's there.
Now, I strongly believe the town administrator should have that authority under his perusal, not the board of selectmen,
I wonder why we put it under Board of Selectmen.
because it always was.
Administrator.
Hold on one second. Al's got some thoughts.
I'm the town administrator, and I want to appoint town council to deal with the issue of the fire chief, and it's gonna cost $300 an hour to do that. And the select board should have no say in that. Right?
Well, town council, you're talking two different things. She's talking special council versus town council. Town council is Ed Ryan.
You
He's
want
town
just the
council.
You want just the town council and a special council.
I would say town. Yes. The only time we ever appointed special counsel is if there was a conflict with the town council. Like, I can remember there were issues with South Hadley. Well, Ed Ryan always stayed with South Hadley because that was his bigger boss. And he was also the moderator most of the time down there. So we had to go out and hire our own counsel. Or if it had an issue that was kind of out of his ballywhack, we hired somebody from the outside. But that was special counsel we were appointing.
What about this? What about this situation as a problem? If we don't give the authority to the select board, how would they ever hire an attorney should something happen with that they need to address with the town administrator?
They hire a special counsel.
So what you're saying maybe we should just change the select board authority to do special counsel, not town
To
council.
hire special counsel.
Why is it not a good idea to give that power to the select board, the regular council? Why should they have to appoint or hire a special counsel when we really have a town council? And if the select board is represented the town, why shouldn't they have the authority to appoint a town council?
If you have a problem with the town administrator is not going to use town council. He's going to get his own council. So at that point in time, either the town's going to use no, they would probably.
There's gonna be a conflict there.
But
They
if
would
I'm-
both hire separate councils.
if I'm the board.
Why do you want to take it away?
Like the town council, I can't do a thing about it because the administrator has that authority.
So Al, I don't know if you heard what Al said. Al said, so if he's a select board member and he doesn't like who the town administrator hired for town council, they as a select board can't do anything about it.
That's right. Same goes for fire chief, police chief, highway superintendent, everything else. It's no different. Town council is a little different than the tree warden.
Wait,
Part of his,
don't,
it's part of his group of people, and he has the authority to hire them.
So is that?
That's what you hire him for. Either he does his job or you get rid of him.
Hold
Don't
on
like what
one
he's
second.
doing it?
So what are we gonna divide up? Who can appoint the town council and who can appoint special councils? Is that what you're saying?
Did you hear that?
Well,
So Al asked a question. He said, so,
I heard.
oh, you heard him. I'm sorry. Okay.
Special counsel is entirely different. And the only time that the Board of Selectmen would hire a special counsel without the town administrator is if they had a problem with the town administrator, period. If they're going to go to the general court, which this is talking about, the town administrator is going to be part of it. And town administrator is going to work with them to find counsel from the outside to go to the general court. The only conflict is going to be if they're against each other. And
Right.
then
Yeah,
we would both find different counsels.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this makes sense. I think Al thinks it makes sense to some extent as well. And, just to add to that, I think if we separate it and just keep it to special town council for the select board, the reality of it is they have the approval authority on all that other stuff anyway. Because the
Right.
town administrator makes the appointments, and then the select board, when I'm saying approval, but it's affirmation. They affirm it. So
That's correct.
that makes sense to me. Anybody else? Split it, leave it, delete it? What do we want to do?
Let it.
Split it?
Let it.
Virginia?
I'm looking under the select board to see what its duties were. You said that in the end, it doesn't matter because the select board will have to approve what the town administrator appointed, who the town administrator appointed. Am I right, Brian? That's what you said?
They affirm it.
Affirm it, right? That's what-
Well, I'm looking to see, where does it say that? Because I don't find that under select board, chapter 2.
Do they affirm you, Al,
They do.
your
And I
position?
know they do that because they affirmed
Then-
the chiefs.
You know what?
They,
It might not be there. I'm wondering, I'm trying to get into the document now. Did we put that under town administrator, and does it say make appointments with their, after the affirmation or something like that? I'm trying to get to that.
Okay, I'll look at town administrator. Appointment authority. Well, it doesn't say that, because that's the one that I keep on reading to you, and it doesn't even mention the select board.
Yeah,
Oh, maybe under section 5.
The only
Yeah.
place,
Here, does this make, okay, does this cover it? A commission, board, or officer? Would the council be considered any one of those? A commission, a board, or an officer? I don't think so. Is he?
That's
Hold on.
conflicting. Read that first sentence. That's not a commission, board of or officer appointed by the town administrator may appoint such employees as it deems necessary, but such appointment shall be subject to the approval of the town administrator.
I know, it's the other way around. I know.
What that's talking about is like this committee.
Okay,
That's not talking about, that's his authority to appoint, people to commissions, boards, and things like that.
I
That
know, but
wasn't,
I don't
Okay.
anywhere here what you just said that he can do, that the select board have to approve. That's what I'm looking for.
yeah, I'm looking forward to. All right, so,
Well, how about on number 8? Look at,
yeah, Yep.
see number 8 in parentheses,
yep,
of all such appointments,
right,
although
right.
that, I think to number 7. Appoint and remove department heads, officers of the town, members of boards, commissions, employees who report directly to the town administrator. Would that include the council?
the reason is that
yes,
to keep politics out of it, the select board have no authority to put one of their favorite people in there. So this is why this one is straight out town administrator. And that's so that it takes me as a board of selectmen member out of politics. Because I can't get you a job at the town because the town administrator is the one who does the appointing.
Al, a number of years ago, there was a young Bissett gentleman who wanted to be the town council. And he being pushed by one of the Board of Selectmen. And he ended up not getting it. And it was political, and it should not have happened. The town administrator would have taken care of that, and then it could be affirmed by the Board of Selectmen. I think any appointments that the town administrator makes should be affirmed by the Board of Selectmen. Or the
Agreed.
Select Board, whatever.
Al agreed with that as well.
Yeah.
I agree with it too.
That's their position, and that's their, hey, if 2/3 of the board don't approve or affirm it, town administrator's back from scratch one, and basically.
Right.
So we've covered it in number
Needs
8.
to follow with the town administrator, because I'm out of politics, all right? Because I can't get you a job unless the town administrator is willing to give you a job that I can approve. So there is some protection to keep the politics out of it. I do, Brian.
So
So are we saying number 8 covers it?
I think it does. I think it does.
Can I ask you something? Why is the word such there? Why aren't we taking out such? Because such to me implies, look at number 7. And when you look at number 7, it lists things. Why aren't we just saying the town administrator, for number 8, it shall inform the select board in writing of all appointments, and such appointments shall be effective, blah, 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 blah.
I don't have a problem with that.
That's just the way I read it. When I see that first such, it makes me go back and look at 7. And 7 doesn't say council.
We can get rid of that. Anybody else have a problem with that?
No.
No,
So, okay, so I'm clear. We're under the select board authority. We're gonna to appoint council, we're gonna make that special council, correct?
no, it was good, no, under the town administrator? Town
No,
administrator was under the Board of Selectmen. I'm confused.
So the way that I thought we were gonna leave this was the select board will have the authority to appoint special town council. Is that what we wanted to do there?
Al Bill, should that be the Board of Selectmen have the authority to appoint special town council when there is whatever with the town administrator?
can you just say if needed, if necessary?
I think you can, and I can work on wording for that.
Rather than if there's a conflict with the administrator, if necessary.
Yeah.
Okay, Virginia, I'll buy that.
Yeah, that works for me too. We good with all that?
Okay, I'm good.
Bill?
Go ahead, he's listening.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay.
All right.
All right, appointment authority. On page,
Oh, wait. You know what, under their comments still? Does this apply to matters involving the schools? What happens to the town, what happens if the town council and the school council disagree? Who has the authority to say which position the town adopts? I don't think that comes under this bylaw, does it?
I don't think we're
that's-
gonna be able to legislate that with a bylaw. I don't think that.
Okay.
I think a court is gonna decide that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I agree with you.
I agree.
Okay.
Okay, now, wait. Chapter 2, section 5.
That's an insurance company?
Oh, we were changing it anyway.
Right, I think we just answered this question, right?
Good.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna get rid of that one.
Yeah.
Before entering the duties of the office, the town administrator shall be sworn into to the faithful and impartial performance thereof by the town clerk. Why did we write that? I guess their only question is, should that apply to all elected people? Well, everybody's got to get sworn in, right?
Everybody,
One of them served or something.
elected, appointed, it doesn't matter. They all have to be sworn in.
Yeah, I don't know that we need to add anything for that. That's my 2 cents. Anybody else?
One or the other. But I think they're,
Yeah,
I think they're leading towards this unrealistic for others. They want everybody to have that impartial performance thing, and that's garbage.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
yep. So we're gonna take it out, right? Are we
Right.
taking it out of the town administrators, what's under the town administrator?
Yeah, I don't know what they're, but maybe we have to see what oath they're taking, we'll have a better.
Well,
idea.
I mean, everybody has to get sworn in, right?
Yeah,
Right, so why do we single them out anyway, putting in section 4 sworn in, just eliminate the section?
sworn in by the town clerk. They have to, we all have to swear the same thing at the town clerk.
So do we get rid of the whole section 4? Or do we just leave it saying before entering the duties, the town administrator will be sworn in by the town clerk?
Oh, did we put that under the select board? Why are we just putting it?
I don't think we went, I'd have to go back and look at every single section of every committee, but I don't know that we did that for every single thing.
But everybody has to be sworn by the town clerk, and we all take the same oath.
Yeah. So
Right.
We can get rid of it. I don't care.
Oh, get rid of it, I think.
All right.
Are we to assume, are we to assume by this that the town administrator is not getting sworn in?
No, I
Is that
don't
what
think
this-
we put anything. I don't know why we put it in. We're the ones that put it in.
Oh, okay.
Well, look I guess my feeling is the whole faithful and partial performance of his job kind of doesn't make any sense to me. Leaving section 4, just saying that he's got to get sworn in.
That's it.
I think it's okay to leave in there. That's my 2 cents, but I'll go with whatever the group wants to
Tell
do.
us who's gonna do it. So, town clerk.
Just lets us know who swears him in, I guess.
Yeah.
So.
So you're saying they'll be sworn in by the town clerk? Is that what you're saying now?
Yeah, that's,
Yeah, okay.
I'm just writing some notes here.
You're talking about taking out faithful and impartial performance.
Yeah, get rid of
You're
that
right.
and just keep the basic sentence in there.
That's a simple one.
All right, bottom of page 3, appointments by the town administrator. Can the town administrator appoint an officer?
Officer of law, of the
What-
law?
What if
Well,
we do this? What if we
I
keep
think-
it simple? And
Didn't we
just,
say we're gonna make it official?
yeah, but their questions are different here. Their question, couldn't it just read a commission, board, or other employee appointed by the town administrator?
That's fine.
Yeah, because it does says may appoint such employees. Yeah,
Should we just get rid of officer and make it employee?
Yes.
Yes.
yeah.
I think
All
so.
right. Then they talk about changing the word approval to pre-approval. Um, I don't know. I feel like the process is what the process is. We know what it is.
Approval be changed to pre-approval?
Let me put it this way. Anybody who doesn't discuss with the town administrator who you're gonna appoint would be nuts.
To me, I feel like the wording's okay.
I do too.
Anybody else?
And the last two, I don't have any agreement. Any
I
other-
missed it. What did he say? What are we talking about, Brian?
We're talking about the
We're gonna change it to employee.
disapproval or approval of
Okay, wait a second.
comments, questions, number 2 down below.
What I was saying was, I think we should change the word officer to employee and leave the rest of it intact.
I got that, yeah. Similar to the question of possible.
What can you tell me? Is there approval?
Any other discussion on that one?
No. Appointment shall be approval. Pre-approval.
I don't understand the first sentence.
Okay,
Pre-approval, you mean?
Yeah, a commission, board, or employee appointed by the town administrator may appoint such employees as it deems necessary, but such appointments shall be subject to the approval of the town administrator.
Oh, I see what they're saying.
right. So, for instance, certain commissions, boards, and committees have the ability to, if someone goes out, or like, I'm trying to think of one of the boards where they pick their own members, like a couple members are picked and then they pick another member. If they, then
Council
that's
on Aging.
fine, as long as the town administrator approves them.
But that isn't the way, is that the way it works for everybody? Because like for us, when I was on the library trustees, if we, somebody leaves before the next election, like, and you came up with somebody, you would go before the select board and present whoever it was that you thought should fill until the next election. And then there was a vote taken of the trustees and the select board to approve it.
I think only for elected officials though.
Oh,
Yeah.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only for elected officials, and they have 30 days to do it. And the Board of Selectmen, or the Select Board, have the same opportunity to come up with a name before they have a meeting, if they were smart.
what does it mean with that second half? But such appointment shall be subject to the approval of the town administrator. What does that mean?
Take the Council on Aging. I think what they can do is they can appoint people, the Council on Aging can,
Yeah,
just to dip the various things. So what they're saying is, before you guys take a vote on it, you really should get the approval or pre-approval of the town administrator, see if he has any agreements or disagreements with what you, or who you may approve. In other words, don't put it into his lap and say, okay, this is it, here it is. You're the goat now. You gonna pre-approve it or gonna approve?
I don't have a problem changing the wording to what they're suggesting.
the approval, okay,
Want to do that?
yeah.
I would. I think they're kind of right on that one. That way,
Okay,
too many times he ends up with somebody in his lap and he ain't,
Yeah,
okay,
too late.
all right, that sounds good, we can do that. Last page 4. These are just general suggestions, I guess, about grammatical stuff.
I agree with all three of them.
Al said he agrees with all 3, I do as well.
yeah. Except now we never have the word officer, so it would be applied to officials.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm in.
All right, I'm good with all that.
Yeah.
I do.
Brian?
I'm good.
Okay, all right, excellent, so. All right, so hold on here, let me get a little less deorganized. All
They
right,
put a lot of time into this, didn't they?
they put a ton of time into it, and that's great. I only wish that we had it earlier, but I guess it's hard to expect that because they didn't know exactly what we were doing or not doing, so.
The other chapter four.
All right, bear with me while I try to remember how to get back to the screen where I can see you guys. There you are. Hold on.
How'd you take that picture, Al? Were you up in the air or
No, a neighbor of ours up there has a drone.
as a drone? Okay.
Yeah, so he took some drone photos.
Did he
Pretty-
get all those people's permission to fly that drone by their place or what?
You should see the other pictures. No, no, he didn't. In fact, I'm not sure if this was, now that I'm thinking about it, this might have been a neighbor or a friend that took this. I'm not sure, but so getting back to so we got the budget wording stuff. I can change all of that. I'll go back. I'll look at the whole town moderator. I forget what the issue was off the top of my head, but I'll look at that.
Taking a vote.
Correct. And so one of the things I wanted to do is I think we should do this. So I'd like to invite them to a meeting and just kind of go over this. Not so much for input, but to let them know this is the direction we're headed in. And
Can I ask one other question about, are we going to put under the select board that they give the authority to work on the budget or something that lets them know that we're expecting that putting together the budget's going to fall under the town administrator, but he can't do anything unless they've given their approval first. I don't think that appears anywhere under our duties of, the select board. You get what I'm- you know what I'm
I
trying to
do.
say?
I do, and we talked about that at our last meeting.
No, we did.
We talked about
But I don't
adding
think-
some wording
yeah.
to the town administrators. It's not a job description, but responsibilities, saying that.
It was under section 9. It was on the select board under section 9. But I don't think we've noted it.
Go to the bathroom. and-
If you go right out,
Where it is.
All right.
You don't need me anymore.
Um,
Over, right?
what's that? Yeah, for the most part, we're pretty much done. And we'll just pick another date.
Okay.
All right, Al, thank you.
Bye-bye.
See ya. So you said that was section 9 under the select board?
Yeah, it's authority to appoint town administrator. The select board shall appoint pursuant to whatever the Mass General Law is, a town administrator. The town administrator shall serve as the chief administrative office under the direction of the select board, shall perform the duties assigned by the select board, and shall not perform any function that has not been approved for the town administrator by the select board. Do we want to specifically mention the budget there? Or are you comfortable with just leaving it open-ended there?
I think that.
See,
I
I'm
think-
not comfortable leaving it open-ended.
I think I'd have to go back and read what what the town administrator's responsibilities are before I answered that question. If it's clearly illustrated in his responsibilities, then we would be okay with it. But I'm also not opposed. I'm not opposed to adding something somewhere. Virginia, do you want to pick out, do you want to take a look and see where you think that would go well? Pick up some wording and send it to me, and I'll insert it into the document for next time and we can talk about it.
I think it just goes well right there on the section 19, on the section 9, that's all. Shall perform the duties assigned by the select board, including but not limited to, I think it's important. Because the budget seems to be the big one that we think that he should have using his expertise over.
Right.
But I don't know, maybe you want to leave it open-ended and assume that they're going to do everything that we say that they should do under the town administrator.
Under that section that you're looking at, and I'm not looking at it right now.
No.
Does it list anything else that they should be doing or not doing with the town administrator?
No,
I don't know that that's the place to do it. Maybe
Yeah.
we do that in the budget process area where we're already making those changes. We say, you know what I mean? Because if we're not gonna list all the other stuff there underneath the select board and what they should be doing,
yeah,
Giving-
it doesn't. It never says
Yeah.
anything about the town administrator, except in that one, authority to appoint town administrator.
I think if we change, I think by changing the wording, like we talked about earlier in the budget process,
Uh-huh,
and giving the finance or giving the town administrators version. So again, let's go back to where the meeting started today. We started talking about, okay, excuse me. The town administrator develops a balanced budget. That goes to the select board. If they agree, lovely. It goes to the finance committee for their, blessing. Back it up a step. Town administrator develops the budget, gives it to the select board. There's a disagreement. that's the opportunity for the town administrator's version and whatever select board version going to the finance committee to say, we agree with or we don't agree with. I think by doing that, by giving that opportunity, we are giving deference to the town administrator.
Right, yep, you're right. I can see that.
Okay, well, let's think about that. I see your point too, and
No, I think you're right, though. If it's listed under the town administrator as his duties,
okay. All right. So the last thing I wanted to talk about was, I think at some point here, we need to get another date online for another public hearing for the next set of bylaws. And to be honest with you, I'd have to go back and look at how we said we were gonna break these up. It's been so long since the first one. I don't even remember, to be honest with you. Is there any date ranges that are bad for either of you?
The 5th, or actually Monday the 6th to Friday the 17th, I'll be in South Carolina.
You're talking about July?
July.
Give me those dates again.
July 6th to July 17th.
Okay.
are you driving?
No, flying.
Ooh,
What about you, Virginia?
I'm, I'm here.
Any dates?
Any day, fine.
I'm gonna be honest with you, it's gonna take me all of that time to get ready anyway. With everything that I've got going on right now, I don't see me being ready before the 17th.
When
Oh,
are you
yeah.
planning writing the
I'd be
finance?
August 10th to the 21st, I'll be gone also. August
Okay.
10th to the 21st.
Do we want to try to meet next week? I think I can get this stuff done for next week.
Okay,
You want to try Thursday again? Let me just check my calendar too. I could do next Thursday at the same time.
Yep.
let's
Thursday?
face it. Next Thursday, 25th? Oh, it sounds wonderful.
Okay. All right. Let's we'll go with that. I'll try to get all this typed up and done, and I'll try to invite John and Bob and see if they're interested. And if not, we'll kind of finalize the stuff we talked about today, and we'll pick a date moving forward for the next public hearing.
Is there any way
Sounds
we
good,
can
Al.
teach Al? Is there any way we can teach Al Bill how to get on?
Yeah, we'll
He
have
was
some
on
remedial
last time.
classes.
He was on last time, remember? Because I remember
Yeah.
him coming on and saying, "Where are you, Brian? I can't see you."
Yeah,
So
I
he
know.
was
Right.
on.
I know. I
Right.
don't know. It happens.
Yeah. Well, he was here. He was a trooper. He made the trip.
He did.
All right, guys.
All
I'll get this all
Okay.
patched
Bye-bye.
together. I'll get it out to you. Have a nice
I'll
night.
move,
You're gonna be in
move to
touch with Lynn.
What was that motion, Brian?
I'll move to adjourn.
All right, 308. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi, guys. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Yeah, take care.